I'm the president of this little group over here, but right now I'm just manager of this store, and I want to thank all of y'all for coming. Our inductees, could I get y'all around up here so we don't have to trample through your thundering herd of a crowd? We saved a place for you and everything. Y'all welcome. We started this back in 2015 to honor Scott Rain, who a lot of y'all know, four-time honor band director, and I just felt he was kind of unappreciated by my alma mater. I'm going to be just honest. I was disappointed in SFA, and I thought, because they wouldn't induct him in his Hall of Fame, so I said, well, I'll just start my own. So we started our own to honor Scott Rain. And then the next year, our good friend Jimmy Hudgens had passed on, so we moved him in, and nobody was any more deserving than him. And then last year, we inducted Dr. Ken McElroy. If you don't know him, you need to. And this year, in making my decision on who to induct, I'm kind of going, I don't know. And I thought, well, you know, Neil just retired. And then he came in and said, well, Mitchell just retired. And I'm going to go, well, Marlena just retired. How am I going to pick this? You know? So I said, well, why? Why choose? So we picked a trifecta of musical perfection here to lead us into this next race. So, as you'll see over here on our plaque, we've got a perpetual plaque going over here that's got their names engraved on it, and along with the other three fine gentlemen that have preceded them. So what we're going to do today is the band here is going to help them showcase their talents, and that many of you have seen on the other side. So now you're going to get to sit here. But we're going to start off with a little bit of the national anthem. So if you would please rise and welcome Dr. Sarah Rock. To start our official program, we'd like to welcome Dr. Ken McElroy back to the podium. He'll be directing the band in that old march from the Marine Corps, Simply Fidelis.
Take all the repeats and everything, and I'll try to stay quick when you do. I don't know that it would really be possible to do much of a band concert without John Philip Sousa's music. He was one of the guys that helped put the band on the American stage. And we all are very grateful for the compositions he's done and the standards which he has set for all the bands. Now, if I can get up here without falling down.
No, we knew you weren't kidding. I'll help you down.
when you have been retired from banding directing as long as I have, it sure does feel good. Be up here.
Chapel Hill. She started the program at Jacksonville Christian, and you know, when I first told her she was doing it, the first thing out of her mouth was, "Well, my brothers are dark more than I do." And I'm kind of going, you know, as a person who is an assistant for many years, I know what those assistants do. They get all the grunt work. They do all the dirty jobs that the band directors don't want to do. They take all those little kids that need a kick in the butt and kick them in the butt and teach them their parts, you know. And this one, in addition to all that, she happens to be a quite accomplished piano player, so I know from personal experience how many people she took to state learning all that music. And I mean, most of the time when you get up to that level, those pieces, the piano parts, at least as hard as the solo. And so I know how much time she put in, and I appreciate it so much. Had its personal experience with her. I had a little prodigy that this one made me teach, and she was playing harder and harder and harder and harder music. And every year, Marlena came through and took care of her, and I appreciate all she did. So, our next inductee, or first inductee, is Marlena Phillips. She's going to be leading the band in the Washington Post.
Well, I want to thank you for coming, because I know weekends are your one and only time to get to enjoy yourself. So thank you for your time. In 1889, the Washington Post newspaper held a contest for children's essay writing. And so they asked John Philip Sousa, who was the director of the Marine Band at that time, to write a piece for the Washington Post for this contest for the awards ceremony. So this is what he came up with. Now, I don't know what child won this, but I know who I think won the writing contest. That was John Philip Sousa. A British journalist called him, at that time, that was when he was dubbed as the March King. So this march shares the same name as the newspaper, the Washington Post.
ago, the Marine Band took on a project of rescoring, cleaning up all of John Philip Sousa's whole catalog, March catalog, from the beginning to the very end. And then they're putting it into Finale and putting it out on the website, and it's free to all band directors. So they've got 2 or 3 of these sets, and these arrangements that we're playing today are the cleaned up versions, you know. Any of you that's ever been in bands, you know you've been passed out a version that's been played on 4 or 5 times before, and it's got every bit of little notes on it, and you can't even hardly read it anymore. So now these are all nice and cleaned up in an adult size so that I can actually see it and all that kind of thing. So we're having a good time playing their arrangements. So, excuse me, I have to segue here a little bit. Our next inductee claims he's retired, but then he's not, and then he is, and I'm not sure. Okay, just, you know, Jeff, I think, is hassling him to stick around another year. I don't know. But he spent a lot of years between Gladewater, Kilgore, Lumpton, Grove. I don't even know all of them. I don't pretend to. But he's brought home more sweepstakes and honor, you know, OPS stuff, all that kind of stuff that I care to count. I put his bio on our website because I couldn't keep up with all of it. But he's one of these guys that just does the job. And you can tell by his students. He is so well loved and so well respected. As soon as I put his picture up, I was going, "Oh, Mr. Smiley, you look great." So he just does the freaking job, and that's what we're about. That's what we respect. It's just somebody who doesn't sit there and wave the flags and call attention to themselves. They just get the job done. And that's another one of these. And so we want to welcome to the podium to conduct Attorney General, Mr. Mitchell Smith.
For some reason, Marlena's looks better than that. That's great.
Aren't you glad?
Yeah. All right. This Attorney General, I didn't know we were going to speak, so I was just making up something against corner of my sleeve here. Is written by K.L. King, who also was known as the King of Marches because of his name, I guess. But he wrote so many circus gallops and circus marches, and also some real fine literature for military marching bands. So this one is called the Attorney General. It's quite challenging in several sections, but this band up here is handling it very well. So I'm proud to be conducting it on this. Attorney General. You all play better than that, right?
I doubt that.
All right, very interesting.
used to live across the street from me when I was a little kid, eating candy, and as soon as I found out he was band director, I was probably 6 or 7. I mean, I used to get over there all the time. Anytime he'd let me, but I was afraid of bugging him, so I didn't go there too much. Mama said, "Leave him alone, Cheryl." But I've known him since I was young.
Be careful.
And we won't talk about that. That's been a few years ago, 5 or 6, But anyway, he's been bouncing back and forth between Troop and Chapel Hill. He can't decide which one he likes best, so he just goes back and forth and takes care of business, as I've been alluding to all afternoon long. Doing a great job. I liked him so much that when our first Scott Rain was our clinician, or still is. He's one of our clinicians, but he's been on the adjudicators list forever, and he likes to judge over in Region 8, and that's where a lot of our schools are. So he can't clinic his own schools that he's judging. So I called Neil up and I said, "Hey, I need some help over here. Would you like to go out in Region 8 and do some clinics for me?" So he has been so kind to help us out there, and they just have been giving me glowing reviews. He said, "I want him back next year." I said, okay, I'll tell him. So I just want to welcome him into our Hall of Fame, Mr. Neil Smith. He asked us to do Attorney General, Army of the Nile, so we'll hold on and try to do that for him.
These other two up here have done patriotic stuff, and I decided I want to do one of my favorite marches called Army of the Nile, wherever that's at. And then it's written by an English composer, so I'm just saying that we got our freedom from these. Independence. That's what I was telling the band a while ago. But now I have taught 38 years, and all of it's been at Chapel Hill or Troop. When one of them had an opening, I say, "You take him this time." That's what we used to do. And they've dressed patriotic. I can't think any more things patriotic than pink flamingos. We're going to do Army of the Nile, and this band really, really captures the meaning of Army of the Nile.
so you know what the sight reading contest is, right? We've all been to it and whatever. These three have been teaching that for years. So we got a little surprise for them. We're inviting them to a sight reading contest. So they don't know anything about this, so y'all just bear with them. We've got a little piece here that we're going to play that requires a little audience participation. So they're going to have to play a part. So if you three would put your little heads down and come up here. Most of y'all have probably heard of Saturday Night Live, and there's a little skit that Christopher Walken does with the Blue Ulster Colt that's called More Cowbell, and that's the name of this tune. All right, now I'm going to give them this piece of music. They're going to have to look at it. I'm going to give them about 5 seconds to look at it, and then they're going to play this. So here, y'all look at this. You got 4 measures of rest. You got 4 measures of rest, and then after that. I'm retired. I don't know. I can't read upside down backwards. Okay. 4 measures of rest, 4 times. Then we got some repeats, and then you got to watch all these repeats now. Come on, this is key signature here. Okay, watch it, kneel, don't play flat. Okay. All right. Now the last song we play is Oye Como Va. So when you hear Oye Como Va, y'all know this song. So yeah. Now you got one little lick here. If you miss it, that's right. They'll never know. Okay. And watch for it cut off. Ready?
I think we need a note.
You need to know. All right, here you go. Tune your
I've expected great things from you, Marley. Great things. I need, as long as somebody's covering your other part, I guess.
Put a string on it. Pick it up.
Just make it a show if you're going to do it.
Oh, okay.
explore the space. I got a fever. Look at him already dropping it. He's you put a drumstick in their hand, they lose IQ points. What's going on? Oh, okay.
Cats ready? We're ready. Okay. Here we go.
That's new. Thank y'all for being here in support of this.
One more hand.
you again so much.